That beloved institution, the Australian Tax Office, has announced new thresholds for luxury car tax, zero FBT on EVs and plug-in hybrids, and the maximum amounts of GST and depreciation you can claim on a new car in the next financial year. This represents a $4,400 free kick in the case of EVs and $3,400 in the case of depreciation. All up, that's 7,800 fairly compelling reasons to delay that critical acquisition until July the 1st or after, especially if you are jammed hard up against the current tax caps. I'm John Cadogan from AutoExpert.com.au, and I get new cars cheap, but Australia only. Website. Card. This report is sponsored by Novated Lease Australia. Novated leasing is of course insanely popular right now owing to new tax incentives on EVs, and many people are crossing the Novated leasing bridge for the very first time right now. In general, novated leasing is the cheapest way for many ordinary Aussies on a salary to own an EV or a plug-in hybrid, mainly thanks to federal government new financial incentives, including zero FBT on those notionally green cars. Obviously, you can novate conventional vehicles as well. Novated leasing is easy, at least the concept is easy. You make the payments using your pre-tax salary, you sidestep a big wedge of GST, you don't pay the fringe benefits tax on the green cars, and you reduce your taxable income, etc. The details get fairly complex pretty quickly, however, and there's also a fair bit of compliance that you need to be mindful of. It all hinges on things such as the car you want. Is it green enough? What does it cost? How much do you earn? How many annual Ks are you going to drive? What state do you live in? And the specific details of your financial circumstances. So there's rather a lot of variables in the mix. Novated Lease Australia is run by dudes I've known for years, dudes I trust, dudes who will rip clarity out of the heart of chaos and complexity and tell you where you actually stand with a novated lease, and your inquiry is obviously entirely obligation-free. Link in the description for direct access there, and I will pin one to the comments as well. That's Novated Lease Australia. Last week, across its website, the Tax Office announced the new financial thresholds for vehicles. These take effect from July the 1st, when the new financial year kicks off. Starting with the luxury car tax. The ATO updated its luxury car tax rate and thresholds page for the new financial year last week on May the 18th. The luxury car tax threshold for conventional vehicles will rise to $76,950. This is up just over 7% from $71,849 currently. That's a bump of $5,101. For green cars, meaning EVs and plug-in hybrids, the indexation factor was actually lower at just over 5%. And don't ask me who makes these determinations. I'm just sitting here reporting the changes to you. That's certainly not on me. $89,332 is the new luxury car tax cap for green cars, and it's up from $84,916 currently. That's a bump of $4,416. You need to remember here that conventional hybrids that do not plug in, such as the RAV4 hybrid, do not qualify in this green car category. If you want a hybrid and you want it in this category, it has to be a plug-in. The new number for green cars, $89,332, is extremely important for you if you intend to take advantage of the government's new green car incentives using a novated lease. That $89,332 is the new ceiling for your all-important zero fringe benefits tax claim. So if you make a minor mistake and you spend just $1 more than that, those fat stacks of juicy FBT savings are going to evaporate. So don't get this wrong. $89,332. Best to measure twice and cut once, I'd suggest. The good news here, of course, is that you can soon spend about $4,400 more than you could in this financial year without falling afoul of the Green Car Zero FBT cap, provided the deal is done from July the 1st. It means that vehicles such as the Hyundai Ioniq 5 Epic, which would be the fully pimped variant of that model, is now on the table for Zero FBT after the 1st of July, as will be the mid-spec Ioniq 6 Technic. Previously, you were limited to the poverty pack in the Ioniq 6, if you can use the term poverty in relation to a $74,000 car. The bottom line here, if you were headbutting the limit previously with the car of your dreams, there's more wriggle room for you from July the 1st. The other critical threshold that will change on the 1st of July is the official depreciation limit. And this is important to business owners as well as salary sacrifices. This tax office PDF entitled GST and Motor Vehicles also got its hair and makeup tweaked for the 2024 financial year, and that happened last week on May the 18th. On page 3, it suggests that the depreciation limit for the new tax year will rise to $68,108. Up until the 30th of June, it's $64,741. And I say suggests here because the official ATO webpage on depreciation limits, which is all about assets and exclusions generally, so a bit of an insomnia cure, it's yet to be updated for financial 2024. If you're in business, essentially the new car limit revealed on the ATO PDF means that you get another $3,367 worth of depreciation on a new car, provided the car you buy costs $68,108 or more. Basically, the federal government caps the depreciation that you can claim on a new car because it's something of a bad look for some fat cat to go out and buy a fleet of 20 Bentleys and Rollers or something and claim the full cost under depreciation. So if you are sufficiently fat and a cat, well done you. You can buy all the Bentleys you want, dude. Go for it. Knock yourself out. However, you can only depreciate each of them by $68,108 of that total price from July the 1st. So there's that to consider. The other thing this affects is the maximum GST you can claim using a chattel mortgage if, for example, you're a business, or under a novated lease if you're an employee. Just look at it like this. If you land close to but do not exceed the new green car luxury car tax threshold of $89,332 on a novated lease, you certainly qualify for Zero FBT, but you only get back the GST on $68,108 of the purchase price because rules and regulations. This is simply how that works. According to the tax office, from that recently updated PDF, quote, if you purchase a car for more than the car limit, the maximum amount of GST credit you can claim is 1/11 of that limit. The ATO then goes on to provide an example wherein they divide the new limit of $68,108 by 11 to get $6,191, which is the maximum GST credit you can claim on a new car from July the 1st. Between now and June 30, this amount is $5,885. So the new GST maximum is only about $300 more than previously, but at least it's $300 more in your pocket and not the government's. So I guess the big dilemma here in business is that if you act before June 30, you get to claim whatever in this financial year, whereas if you defer and do the deal in the new financial year, the benefits might be higher, but you're going to need to wait another 12 months to realise them. That's a matter for you and your accountant, I suppose. All I can do is point out the way the goalposts will move in coming weeks. It's something to be aware of right now because inflation's been running relatively hot lately, and one of the positive effects of that is that indexation of these threshold amounts has also been relatively high, and that means the relative change in the limits is kind of large this year. Knowing the new limits is going to be vital for anyone considering a novated lease, especially a novated lease on a notionally green car, and especially if you're looking to max out the amount of salary you actually sacrifice without blowing the zero FBT benefit. Now might be an excellent time to get your deal organised, but waiting until July the 1st to consummate that particular marriage could be quite the lucrative plan ultimately. Talk it over with your accountant now that the new numbers are known.